Hi, and thank you for joining us at University Phoenix Live. Today we have two guests we're going to talk to. This is Dr. Brooke M. Mortar.
Nice
Hi,
to meet you.
Dr. Mortar. Nice to meet you as well. And this over here is Dr. Ed U. Cator. Thank you, Mr. Cator, for joining us.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Well, today we're going to be discussing online learning versus a more brick and mortar type setting, such as your traditional university. So the first question we're going to start with Mr. Mortar. And Mr. Mortar, or Dr. Mortar, your first question is, describe the trends in various instructional settings and modalities you expect to see in the next 10 years and explain your rationale.
Well, Becky, in the next 10 years, we're going to see a growth in more students going to ground campuses and ground locations. The use of the internet is just some type of a fad going on right now. For students to be properly educated, they need to be in a brick and mortar type environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Cator?
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more on that, but part of the reason is because in the next 10 years, we are still stuck in the brick and mortar mode. We still have computers. We won't be using a lot of that technology that we're using today 10 years from now. But yes, from now for the next few years, we'll gradually be moving away from the brick and mortar schools to totally digital schools.
Interesting, very interesting, Dr. Cator. Thank you for those thoughts. Dr. Mortar, question for you. What will academic and professional learning look like in the next 10 years? So in 2020, what will it look like?
Good question, Becky. Well,
Thanks.
what I foresee is a continued growth in campuses such as ASU or Stanford or Purdue. The ground campuses will definitely grow in the next 10 years. There'll be more facilitators, more educators. The use of technology will be there, but more on a limited basis. We will have some internet type classes, but the mainstay will be in front of the instructor inside a classroom.
Thank you. Dr. Cator, your thoughts?
Yes, I believe, and experts agree with me, that by 2020, most of our learning will be done with our cellular phone. Right now, the cellular phone has more room for data than a lot of the early Apollo missions had on the entire spacecraft. By 2020, the information that we have on our mobile phones right now will fit on something the size of a blood cell. So most of our learning will be going through our cellular phone in 2020.
That is fascinating, Dr. Cator. Just fascinating. Okay, next question is for you, Dr. Cator. Who will influence the content of these online courses?
Well, the students will influence the online courses. And one of the benefits of that is doing things electronically and online. We can change our methods of teaching instantly. We don't have to wait for textbooks. We don't have to wait for another building to be built that will house more students. We can add more students instantly. And we can also change the method of we're giving the students information that will suit their needs and not our needs.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mortar, your thoughts?
Oh, I could not disagree with Dr. Cator more than that. There is no way we're going to let some silly freshmen dictate to us what we're going to be teaching. The instructors will develop the curriculum based on the needs of the economy and of the nation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that response. Okay, Dr. Mortar, next question goes to you.
Oh, yes, okay.
Okay. Who will be involved in the development and design of adult learning in the next 10 years?
Oh, that will be the same. The instructors in the classroom will be in full control of curriculum development, along with other experts from outside, working in a company or for the government telling us what is needed for our classrooms.
Dr. Cator, your response?
Well, that's a little scary, the government telling us what we need to do in our classroom. But aside from that point, mostly, like I've said in the previous question, the students will be involved in the development of the adult learning. One of the things that and it's not new, the last 50 years, students want to know what's relevant to what they are doing. And the only way we can do this is if they tell us. So we have to have feedback from the students, and we have to tailor our training for what they need.
Thank you, Dr. Cator. Thank you. All right, one more question. We'll start with Dr. Mortar, okay? All right, how will these changes impact instructional design? It's a very controversial topic right now.
Yes, it is. The main changes that we're seeing now is the more adults are seeking education. The changes that need to be made is to facilitate a better learning environment for the adults, but at the same time keeping the control as far as when they come to class and how they do their work.
Dr. Cator?
Yes, the instructional design, you have to understand, is a liquid type situation. It's constantly changing and constantly improving how we teach people. And the problem with the brick and mortar, you build a building, you print the books, and economics dictate that you're going to have to be utilizing those facilities for X amount of time until the money is paid back. So we need the flexibility of online learning to be able to change daily with the needs of the students.
Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen. And before we go, let's have one final thought from each of you. Dr. Mortar?
The fact of the matter is, ground-based schools, such as the ones I've named so far, will continue to dominate the education market. And students from around the world continue to come to universities that are brick and mortar, if you will, and seek their education there. This, again, reverting back to this fad, internet by learning by internet, whatever you want to call it, it's not going to withstand the test of time, and the students will return back to the campuses.
Thank you. Dr. Cator?
I really would like to believe in the brick and mortar because that's the way I've always been taught. But I know that the online learning is going to be the thing of the future because of the facts. If I have a teacher in front of me that's instructing a group of 100 or 120 students, the only thing they're going to be able to learn is the assumptions of that teacher based on what facts he's had during his education. But when we go online, we can state facts that have been researched by researchers, and we know that there's not going to be a lot of personal assumptions involved in that, and students can get the best education they're paying for.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Once again, this is Dr. Brick and Mortar, and this is Dr. Ed U. Cator. To learn more about them, you can go to their websites. We'll put the sites on next. So thank you once again for joining us on University Phoenix Live, and please join us next week as we continue.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.